Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome council staff and members of the public to our special meeting with council and call this meeting to order. I'd like to ask Mrs. Pearson for the Indigenous land acknowledgement, please.
Thank you. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. The town of Petrolia is located on the land associated with the Huron Tract Treaty number 29 of 1827. We express gratitude for the land where we live, work, and play, and we are committed to working respectfully with the land and the Indigenous peoples who have called this land home.
Thank you. And I'd like to ask Mrs. Pearson, please, for the roll call.
Councillor Clark.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Field.
Present.
Councillor Hyatt.
Present.
Councillor O'Hara.
Present.
Councillor Patel. Present. Councillor Welsh. Present. Mayor Loosely.
Present.
And that is a quorum, Your Worship.
Thank you. And on to the agenda, there's a declaration of pecuniary interest. Is there any member of council wishing to declare a conflict of interest? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on now to the adoption of the agenda before you. And just to note, we will take a break from 10 to 10:20, but I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda before you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Field, seconded by Councillor Welsh. I'll ask the clerk to read that motion, please.
And that is for the council of the town of Petrolia to adopt as presented the special meeting of council for budget deliberations for November 25th, 2025.
Any discussion from council? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us now to consideration of minutes of previous meetings. There are none at this time. And we'll move on now for information items. We have a couple of opening statements. I'd like to start with mine, and just bear with me. I'll just read this so I don't miss anything. I'd like to welcome council and staff to our 2026 budget prepared by the budget review team. This is an important day with a lot to absorb, to work as a team in a professional and courteous manner with this new system as set out by the province of Ontario. It has been another busy year, and I'd like to thank the budget review team, Mr. Rick Charlebois, CAO Treasurer, and his staff for their information. The budget review team, as appointed, are pleased in recommending a 3% increase to the municipal tax rate, 4% to our water rates due to the new line going out into Lake Huron, and 4% to our sewer rates for a major work required to the plant in the next few years. This budget still includes a number of major projects within our town. The team does realize this is a difficult and unsettling time. However, feel there has been discussion by our federal and provincial governments of possible new capital grants for municipalities. The town of Petrolia is well prepared with shovel-ready projects to respond to any new grant programs that are introduced. The town is also blessed with some new assessment growth this year. Even though development has slowed down, it is still better than our previous year. For our 2026 council's information, a 1% mill rate or a 1% increase in municipal taxes is approximately $68,000. With the increase in assessment dollars and new development next year will result in additional revenue plus the 3% increase. The team is very pleased that no new planned debentures are proposed and that our debt has been reduced from $10.2 million in 2017 to approximately $5 million by the end of 2026, which is great news for the corporation. There are 5 debentures that are maturing in 2025 for a savings of $76,918. Also, the town now has $380 million in assets for council's information. Please remember the figures we see are up till August the 31st. We'll still have a number of invoices to come in over the next 4 months. Also, please note that this municipal portion of your taxes, and is municipal only and does not include the county or Board of Education. And I'll stop there. Thank you. And I'd like to call upon Mrs. Pearson, please.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay.
So as Mayor loosely indicated, this is a new process for us all. So in relation to that, on May 1st, 2025, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing by regulation expanded the strong mayor powers to 169 additional municipalities in Ontario, the town of Petrolia being one, causing our municipality to be subject to special powers and duties of the head of council under the Act. This designation causes legislative changes to the budget process, which I'll outline shortly. So under section 284-16 of the Act, the powers and duties of a municipality with respect to proposing and adopting a budget are assigned to the mayor. On September 12th, 2025, through mayoral direction 2025-01, the budget process was initiated by the mayor, which directed the chief administrative officer and treasurer to prepare a proposed budget for 2026 operating and capital and staff's best recommendation following budget and strategic plan practices. Present the staff proposed 2026 water and sewer rates as outlined in the procedure bylaw. Present the proposed 2026 staff budget to the budget review team comprised of Deputy Mayor Field, Councillor Clark, and myself for consideration. That the mayor's proposed 2026 operating budget and 2026 capital budget as reviewed by the budget review team be made public and sent to all members of council no later than November 5th, 2025. That members of council be advised that staff are available to respond to any questions or comments up until November 25th, 2025. And that the clerk call a special meeting of council on November 25th, 2025 for the mayor to hear any council proposed amendments to the mayor's proposed budget. On October 31st, 2025, through the mayoral decision numbered 2025-09, the budget process schedule was initiated by the mayor, which issued the following decisions. That the release of the proposed budget for 2026 be scheduled for October 31st, 2025. That staff provide a copy of the proposed budget to each member of Petrolia Council and make it available to the public on the town of Petrolia's website on October 31st, 2025. That the budget deliberation meeting be held at 9:00 a.m. on November 25th, 2025, at which time Petrolia Council may make amendments to the proposed budget. That a public information session to outline the 2026 budget to the public be scheduled prior to a regular council meeting. On October 31st, we started the 30-day clock for council to submit any budget amendments. This period ends on November 29th. Today, council does have an opportunity to shorten the amendment timeline through a motion to become November 25th. If that is so shortened, this provides an opportunity for the mayor to shorten the veto timeline to November 25th, 2025. Should council wish to take this direction, there will be opportunity as noted later on today's agenda. Today, we do have under the Act veto powers, which means the mayor may veto a resolution passed by council within 10 days after the expiration of the timeline for council to pass resolutions. The veto must be provided in writing to the clerk and members of council and outline the reason for the veto. The 10-day timeline for the mayor to veto amendments to the proposed budget may be shortened by the mayor by providing the clerk and all members of council a written document identifying the shorter period for that year. If the mayor vetoes any resolution passed by council, the resolution shall be deemed to have not been passed by council. If the mayor does not veto a resolution within the timeline, the budget shall be deemed adopted by the municipality. There is override of vetoes. Council may override a veto if 2/3 of the total number of members of council vote in favor of overriding a veto within 15 days after the expiry of the timeline for the mayor to veto a resolution. The 15-day timeline for council to override a veto on budget amendments may be shortened via council resolution. An override vote carries. If an override vote carries, the resolution to amend the budget shall be deemed passed by council. After the expiry of the timeline for council to override a veto, the budget is deemed adopted by the municipality. Today, should there be items under the Strong Mayor Act to shorten the amendment timeline, the clerk is provided with a written notice. Should today the mayor provide direction to shorten the prescribed veto period, this will be done through a written mayoral decision. Throughout the deliberation session, should there be an item of procedural clarification come forward, I will be relying on our Deputy Clerk, Jessica Smith, to provide us the details as outlined in the Strong Mayor Act, as she will have that available directly for us to reference. And that is everything for today's procedures.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Pearson. I'd like to move on now to to Mr. Rick Charlebois, our CAO Treasurer, regarding the Strong Mayor powers and the budget. Go ahead, Mr. Charlebois.
Thank you, Your Worship. Could we have my slides up, please? First of all, I'd just like to thank council and staff for their understanding and cooperation as we work through this new process, new legislation on the strong mayor budget process. The mayor, as was mentioned, appointed a budget review team, which included himself, the deputy mayor, and councillor Clark. The purpose of today's meeting is to go through the council proposed budget amendments, and you'll see that's on our agenda today. Budget 2026 is the largest capital program in Petrolia's history. It's over 14 million. The main reason for that being our intake at the water treatment plant. Next year, we're planning to spend just over $10 million, of which 73% of that is paid through a federal and provincial grant. I've got a few charts here to sort of help with assist with council's debate. Then I've got a couple other slides on what's the known budget amendments, and we'll go through those when we talk about the various budget amendments. This slide here, council has seen before, just the history of our composite tax rate, which is the education and the county included in that rate. The next one down is Petrolia's lower tier rate, and then our water and sewer rates. So that's the history from 2019 to 2025. And 2025 was, we actually had a 0% increase on the variable rate and up the fixed monthly rate to $15 a month for water. Next slide, please. This slide here just summarizes what's currently in the budget. The recommended lower tier rate of 3% for Petrolia, and for water 4%, and for sewer 4%. And then we've done this for quite a number of years. We try to target our rate increases for the next 2 years out. The sewer rates in 2017 decreased by 5%. Council decreased them in 2018, 10%, and 2019, 5%. And our CPI for Ontario all items for 2022, it was a 40-year high, not just for Ontario, but across the whole country because of COVID. It was 6.8%. Inflation was 3.9% in 23, and in 2024, it was 2.4%. And if I remember correctly, the inflation for the past year to, I think it was September, is just over 2%. Okay. And for the other slides, we'll wait until we get to the budget amendment. I got 2 slides on each of the budget amendments to help both the council's discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Charlebois. Okay, I'd like to move on now to the 2026 fees for service. I know we do have them on for a bylaw, but I do believe we'd like to put a motion through.
Yes, Your Worship, just providing some direction to adopt the bylaw as presented when we get there. Yes.
Okay, so I'll need a move and a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. Do you need that read again? Does everyone understand that? All those in favor of approving that?
All right, are we, the water and sewer rates are part of the fee schedule, so are we pulling that out before we approve this, or?
We can discuss, you can pull it out during the bylaw.
Correct, and then
So-
there'll be a bylaw that's.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you can change it at that time. So just, we're kind of referring this to the bylaw. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, that'll take us on now. We have some proposed budget amendments. And I'll just start with this, and I'll ask the clerk to interrupt if I'm missing this. The first one is A, regarding operating sewer and water, but the first one is, it is recommended, whereas the rate schedule for water rates proposes a 4% increase to both fixture and variable water rates. Now, the proposed amendment is this: therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Petrolia, Corporation of the Town of Petrolia, approve a 4% increase to the fixed portion only with no increase to the variable rates. Now, before we go any further, I'll ask for a motion and put that on the floor.
Thank you,
Or for-
Worship. That's
oh.
actually was provided to us by Councillor Hyatt as the
Okay.
mover on that motion.
So we'll need a seconder for that. Put it on the floor. Seconded by Councillor Welsh. Okay, I just want to, I'll open it up for discussion. And did you want to start, Councillor Hyatt?
Yeah, sure, I can start. So I guess just basically from my review of the budget, for the rate of change from the operating side, from the OpEx perspective, there's only a 1% rate change from an operating cost. The total operating cost for the water treatment plant is fully funded by the town of Petrolia's rates between fixed and variable. And the capital costs are all supported through the other municipalities paying for the use of our water. Therefore, there's roughly $1.2 million that goes into reserve to support capital projects. Thus, I feel it is appropriate that a 0% variable rate is used and only a small adjustment to the fixed cost. From my understanding, most of the costs for water are fixed, so it's appropriate that fixed would change it.
Okay, thank you for that. I do want to mention to council though, and I think we've received that, by changing that, that'll make, there's a $45,000 reduction in our water revenue for 2026. And if you look at, that's 45,000 a year. If you went 10 years, that's 450,000. We'll be reducing that. Anyway, I'll open it up. Any further discussion regarding, go ahead,
Through your worship.
Mr. Charlebois. Yeah,
I've got two little slides just to give a bit of background to council if I could.
okay, sure. Put that up, please. If you'd like to speak to that, Mr. Charlebois.
Thank you. This, oops, nope, not that slide.
Yep, you just got to give me a moment to share the window.
Oh, certainly. Take your time.
There we go.
Oh, thank you. So this slide here is from 2018 to 2024, and it shows the black line is the, again, CPI inflation, and the inflation is 23.2%. The blue line, that's our water rate increases from 2018 to 2024. So as you can see, that's 17% for the water. So it's over 6%. We're below inflation. And 1.2 about inflation. This is all items for Ontario. Usually inflation, because water is fairly technical and a lot, like as Councillor Hyatt said, a lot of fixed costs because a lot of fixed equipment. Usually the inflation for just water would be higher for that kind of business. And also during that time, over that period of time, we did extensive replacement of water assets like the Mendoma Reservoir, the booster station, the clear well at the water treatment plant, low-level pumps, the water treatment plant intake, the high-level pumps, and numerous road reconstructions where we also address any water issues with that road. We've been very fortunate, as council knows, on grants, and that what helped us a lot to be able to do all that capital work. Next slide, please. This slide here is sort of summarizing and trying to get to the estimated year-end 2027 water reserve. So the water reserve, the end of 2024, that's our last audit, was 2.7 million. It's negative. Negative in this case is a good thing. So negative is what we want. The reserve. And in 2025, the year-end transfer to the water reserve of 6,000. That would increase it, not by much, but a little bit. In 2026, the year-end transfer from the water reserve of just over 2 million, and that's basically to pay for the intake. 26. In 2027, the capital demand, there's still some more intake spending to go on. 1.2 million to take out, or that's going to be needed to be spent. And then the year-end surplus at 2027, operating surplus, is 1.2 million to the good. So the net estimated 2027 water reserve would be 688,000 negative, which is good. If you look at the notes on the sheet there, um, right now, our plan, our current council policy that I wrote about 11 years ago was target $500,000 for water, sewer, and our working capital reserve. It's now at least 10 years later, and things have gotten a lot more expensive, especially construction during COVID, and they haven't gone down. So I'd bring up an amendment to our financial policy to council in the new year. And what I'd be recommending is $1 million. And we've been working on the water system. Like when I first got here, like everything, we needed to replace almost everything, and we have replaced almost everything with various councils over the last 10 years or so. We've done a lot to do that, and we're almost there. Another year and a half, once we're past doing the intake, we'll be there. Although, just I think was it 2 weeks ago, Mike, we heard? Yeah, 2 weeks ago we heard from Aqua. They maintain our water system and the water treatment plant. So they told us about the Paul membranes. That's part of the finer level of the filtration for our water system. So we need to replace that, and that's $1.5 million. Two things. One, this sort of highlights 500,000. It's not a good level to have in a reserve. $1 million's much better. And also that stuff does happen, changes do happen, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a not so good way. This one is, we need now another extra 1.5 million for water to replace that. And it's, I think we're looking at 2027, and we've already discussed quickly that we do, there's three, one to do one each year, so about $500,000 a year. We're also gonna take a look at our grant for the intake and to see if there's some way we can get part of this paid for through that grant, if we can. And then for 2027 to 2034, that's as part of our 10-year plan. So 7 years, we have 7 million in capital demands. A chunk of that is $1 million that would be from the Paul membrane, and 4 million of that is for road work that we have in our long-term plan. So that's just to give you a little bit of background in the water system. And I know some council members have been here a longer time and have lived through most, if not all of that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Charlebois. We do have a motion on the floor. Councillor Wells, go ahead.
Just had another comment. Pardon me, my notes are on my phone. So I went back to, I hate to live in the Wayback Machine, but my first several terms on council, we were dealing with our critical infrastructure, water and sewer, extremely underfunded, poorly managed, and in really terrible condition. And as the CAO just commented, we are just now kind of catching up on all of that. And I mean, the cycle continues, and we're installing new things. And I am not comfortable going back to that position again, and not comfortable telling residents we're in that shape again.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wells. Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
Just to reiterate some of what Liz just said, I think there's items that are going to come up, $1.5 million, surprise, here we go. There has been a number of those over the time, and I really do feel that we have done things right with the increases. I understand last year with putting the increase on the fixed cost. I don't want to continue down that road. I think there is people that limit their intakes and usage, and I think it does impact them as well. So I'm just not prepared to have a surprise and then have a 10% increase in 1 year to try to fix where we're at. So
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. Any other?
I think you covered it. I think we're good.
Councillor Hyatt, go ahead.
Well, the 4% in the schedule right now is already on fixed and variable. So in terms of saying that people are living on a budget, we're doubling the increase by doing 4% on both. So you can't, it's not really a fair comment to say that it's not affecting them. Right?
Counselor Hyatt. Okay, go ahead. Counselor Wells, go ahead.
Also, when we're applying for these grants, and I know this has been said in the past, and I'm pretty sure it's still true, they look to make sure that you are properly funding your own infrastructure and your own water and sewer services. And if you're not doing that, I suspect they don't look favorably upon you for grants or grant applications.
Okay.
So you need to prove that you're doing your own due diligence to cover your own expenses.
Thank you, Counselor Wells. Mr. Charlebois, would you like to address that?
Yes, through your worship. That's exactly right. And for those that were on council probably about 10 years ago, Petrolia did exactly that. We had our strategy was we have to get our own house in financial order, or the province will not look kindly on us when it comes to grants, and which is exactly true. I've go to I don't know, probably at least a dozen cross Ontario meetings with CFOs for the municipalities, and it's still true today. There's still some municipalities, I don't know why, they haven't caught on. They got to make sure the province isn't gonna, if you just go over there and your hand out and say, give me money, please. No, they're gonna say, well, what have you done to help yourself? And it's still true today. I've heard of several municipalities that are in that same boat that we were years ago.
Thank you, Mr. Charlebois. And it's true too with the idea of getting all these studies done even ahead of time before we can get funding as well. Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
Yeah, just the last comment. I did sit through one of those meetings with ministers, and the minister did literally came to us or said to us, what are you doing if you don't get this? And we showed where our increases were, and that was the increases that we actually clawed back on and took back when we did get those grants. And to your point, you're correct. It is on the 4% on both. So my statement was wrong.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. Okay, I think we're ready. I'll call the vote. Does everyone understand this, or do you need the motion read again?
Maybe read it.
Okay, would you like to read that, Mrs. Pearson, please?
Certainly. Whereas the rate schedule for water rates proposes a 4% increase to both fixed and variable water rates. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Petrolia approve a 4% increase to the fixed portion only, with no increase to the variable rates.
Okay, thank you. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That's defeated, not carried. Okay, Mrs. Pearson, you want to move to the next one?
Thank you, Your Worship. And that was Councillor Hyatt has moved this motion forward, whereas the rate schedule for sewer rates proposes a 4% increase. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Petrolia approve a 3% increase to a sewer rate. And that has been moved but not seconded.
Okay, I'll need a seconder to put that on the table for discussion. Moved by Councillor Patel. All right, I'll open it up. Any discussion from council? I do want to mention that that works out to be a result of roughly $20,000 per year. All right, are you clear? Do you want to call go ahead, Councilor Hyatt.
So I'll start with this one, similar to the water from an operating perspective. For the sewer, the operating costs are only going up roughly 1.3%. So 4% versus 1.3 is a pretty significant jump. If we look at the concise asset management plan, it said we needed about 1.1% funding over the next 10 years to support that. So 1.3 plus 1.1 gives you 2.4. So you're getting, with a 3% rate change, you're also getting a 0.6 extra percent related for capital supporting and funding of projects. So that's why I've suggested this amendment.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hyatt. Any other discussion from council? Councillor Wells, go ahead.
Is that 3%, I guess, for the CAO and treasurer, please, is that 3%? Will that take us to the funding level that we need to meet?
Mr. Charlebois, go ahead.
Sure. Can I have the slides up again, please? The next couple of slides. Thank you. Yeah, this slide here, thank you, is similar to the one for the water. So it's from 2018 to 2024. Top line, same line, inflation, 23.2% over that period of time. The green line down below, that's our cumulative sewer rates. And as you can see, it's actually the cumulative rate is still negative because of those decreases council did several years ago. So it's a negative almost 4% and a positive 20 3%. So there's the difference is about 24% below inflation. And just as in passing, I think in history, Petrolia is a trendsetter again, or I think we're the only place I've ever known and seen in the last 12 years that actually lowered a water or sewer rate. I don't know of anybody else in Ontario that's done that. And what I'm going to tell you now, if I were to be able to have a time machine go back, I wouldn't have recommended the council 5, 10, and 5. Probably would have cut that in half, given what I know now. But the next slide, please. So same concept. So sewer rate, the sewer reserve, the end of 2024, the last audit, 240,000. Negative is good. 2025 year end transfer, $83,000. 2026 year end transfer, $180,000. The capital demand for 2027, just over 2 million. And the year 2027 year end surplus, 350,000. So that gives us estimated year end 2027 sewer reserve of 1.2 million, but this time it's positive, well, positive in a bad way. Positive is bad number. It's in the hole, not good. And one of the main reasons for that is the capital demand that we need for the wastewater treatment plant. We've talked about it at council, and we've been trying to limp along. It's the filtration system, and that's about 1.3 million that we need to spend. So we're planning to bring that to the 2027 council. If you look at the notes below, and again, we're trying to, for sewer reserve, trying to get up to the million, and actually it's coincidental that it's, well, yeah, the 1 million reserve target that we're going to recommend to council in the new year for sewer as well. So it's interesting that the thing that, oh, this one we knew about though. We knew about it a few years ago, but we've been trying to do some short-term fixes to delay that major capital expense. We've submitted for a capital grant to assist with replacing the wastewater treatment plant filtration system. If we're successful on the grant, it would bring almost $1 million. We're hoping to hear in the next few months about this grant. And as the mayor rightly mentioned in his opening remarks, the federal government, and I would suggest when the province comes out with its budget for next year, probably next March or so, April, there'll be more capital grants, especially for municipalities that are building more homes faster. And as all of council knows, I think we're right on the cusp. We might say I'm a little too optimistic, but I think we're right on the cusp of getting some bunch of homes built in Petrolia, which will help us get those grants and help with water, sewer, and our property taxes, because you have these costs, and the best way to do that is have a bigger pool that you distribute all those costs around, and so everybody pays less. In 2027, staff, we've been talking about this for the last several years. We're hoping to bring council a sort of fixed sewer rate similar to what we do for water. For 2028 to 2034, in our long-term plan, so it's 7 years, we have 8 million capital demand. 6.4 of that is for roads. Okay, that's just some background for council.
Thank you, Mr. Charlebois. Any other questions? So what we're talking is going from 4% increase to 3%. And again, I think I want to thank the budget review team, because we looked at all that. We hated to get into a 4%, but we thought we needed that to get things back on track. If there's no more discussion, I'll call the vote. Or do you want that motion read? Are you okay with that? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? That's defeated, that's not carried. Just before we move on, though, I do want to state that I am very proud of what this town has done with the water treatment and the sewage treatment plant over the last number of years in getting to where we are now, without having to get into debenturing even more than necessary. So I'll stop there. We'll go to the next one, Mrs. Pearson, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and that has been provided as well by Councillor Hyatt. And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to reduce general ledger code number 01-4010-0302, commonly known as council promotional materials, from $6,500 to $1,500.
Okay, that's motion. I'll need a seconder to put that on the floor. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. I can speak to that to make it really short. I have no problem with that. The idea is to give it to just now special people that come to town or guests. So I'll open it up for discussion. Any discussion? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, that'll take us on now to, we have another one. Mrs. Pearson, if you'd like to read that, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and that is provided to us by Deputy Mayor Field. And that is for the Council of the Town of Petrolia to adopt the report of the Deputy Treasurer dated the 10th of November, 2025 regarding the 2026 municipal fee schedule, and that the 2026 municipal fee schedule be approved as amended and come into force in effect January 1st, 2026.
Okay, Councillor Hyatt, do you want to speak to that?
Sorry, that was
Oh.
Deputy Mayor Field. Your
Oh,
Worship.
Deputy Mayor Field, sorry, Deputy
I
Mayor
think it's
Field,
pretty
go ahead.
self-explanatory. I think.
Yeah.
Covered those items.
No, and I agree. I think with the additional dollars that just came in before,
That's not the right thing. to
oh,
do.
which one? Sorry.
This is the carry forward from our last council meeting from November 10th. Now that we have the fee schedule, so there's been amendments to the fee schedule, so the fee schedule is to be able to be approved.
Okay, sorry, I was jumping ahead. I'll go
Okay.
back. So any
Okay.
discussion regarding that?
I do need a seconder, Your Worship.
Okay, I need a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion. Seconded by Councillor Clark. I'll open it up now for discussion with council. No discussion? You want that read, or are you okay with that? You've already heard it. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Sorry, in favor, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 opposed. That motion carries. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Mrs. Pearson is,
Thank you, Your Worship, and this is under capital and reserves. This is Councillor Hyatt has brought this item forward, that the Council of the Town of Petrolia reduce the proposed 3% property tax increase by 2% by taking 33,000 from the operating tax reduction reserve and updating the OMPF revenue to include the recently announced increase to our 2026 OMPF allocation.
do we need a seconder for that? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. I'll open that up for discussion. Okay, I guess I'll start it. I just jumped the gun because we did get some additional money in grant dollars in after the budget was complete. And for the idea of the 33,000, I certainly don't have any objection to that, but I'll open it up for discussion.
I just want to make sure that I think when the clerk read it, she said reduce it by 2%. It's reduce it to 2%.
Thank you.
Yeah,
By.
I was reading ahead a word.
okay. Does everyone understand that? Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
No, I agree with this. I think this is what Councillor Hyatt set up that or requested to have that fund set up for. So and with the extra AMP funding as has been pointed out. Yeah, I agree with it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. I'm really pleased with that too, if we can keep that down. Mr. Charlebois, you have a
Yes.
comment?
I'm just going to give a little bit of background. The next slide, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Same slide as for water and sewer. So the top line is black is the inflation over that from 2018 to 2024, 23.2%. Bottom line there in sort of orangey color on mine is our cumulative tax rate from that same period. And you'll notice on the sort of like a bathtub from 2019 actually and 2024, or sorry, 20 to 2022. That was when COVID was going on and nobody really knew where COVID was going. And our council at the time decided to keep our tax rate at or just below 0, which was good. And then we came out of the COVID. So we're now at 5.6% for that same period for tax rates. And we're third highest in 2025. When I first got here, we were the highest, now we're the third highest. You should never compare municipalities, but everybody does, because we're all different. We're like, the term that's used is we're all like snowflakes municipalities. Everybody's different, and that is true. Next slide, please. And this slide here, just on 100,000 worth of impact assessment. So from 25 to 26, this is using 3% though. But it would have been $47, assuming though a county rate increase of, I picked 3%. I'm sure the mayor will do his best to keep that as low as they can. And education's been zero for 5 years or something. Been quite a while. So that $47 for the composite rate should be down to 37 on this chart. And if 2% goes through, and the change for our portion, the top line there would be 21 to get to 2%, and agree exactly with what everybody council has said. Actually, Councillor Hyatt, they recommended setting that up, and that was a great idea to give council that extra flexibility. And I think that's it, unless anybody's got any questions.
No, thank you, Mr. Charlebois. And I just want to add a couple things to that. One is, yes, we were the highest tax rate. It's not the idea of comparing so much as if you're trying to attract industry or business and they see that we're the highest tax rate, it doesn't make it more difficult. So I'm very pleased with this council, how we've moved that down. So we're no longer at the top. Also, the idea is, just so for your information, the county's increase last year was over 5%. And hopefully we'll try and keep it a little bit lower than that. Anyway, I'll open it up for discussion. Any more discussion? Everyone's clear? Do you want the vote? Do you want this motion read? Are you okay? All right. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Mrs. Pearson, do you have any more?
I do, your worship. I have from Councillor Welsh. And this is again following that of capital and reserves, that the council of the town of Petrolia defer the dog park capital expenditure of $22,000.
Okay, thank you. We'll need a seconder to put that on the floor for discussion.
Yes, Councillor Clark is.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll open it up for discussion. This is regarding the dog park. Councillor Wells, go ahead.
I'm just gonna, this will kind of apply to all three of my amendments. Apologies again. My notes are on my phone.
Okay, take your time.
Part of it is, I mean, without any fault of ours, all of our operating costs are up on basically all of our facilities, and there isn't a lot we can do about some of those costs. And just speaking from a resident perspective and as a homeowner, if all of my operating costs were going up in my home, I would have to seriously consider if I was going to do any new things with my home, renovations, pool, take a trip, buy a car, whatever. And I think we need to think about that as a council also, especially since we're in some pretty interesting economic times right now, and it's probably going to get a little bit worse before it gets better, unfortunately. And I just think we need to be really responsible and kind of look after our essential services right now and maybe not add to that. So we've added considerable expenses, operating expenses, one of them being, the splash pad is about $30,000 in additional operating expenses. The arena is about 80,000, the Y is about 20,000. And I just think we need to focus on our essential things. And maybe if there's a few capital expenditures that we can postpone, we should be doing that. And so that in additional, the other two, it's kind of my same notes for the other two amendments I'm proposing.
Okay, we'll just deal with the one though first, but your comments, thank you for that. I do want to mention though, for the last election, probably going door to door, one of the main things people were always asking me for was to have something for the dogs or a dog run or something for them. But I understand what Councillor Welsh is saying. I would have liked to seen they organize a committee or something to raise maybe a portion and we match it rather than just handing over 22,000. But it's a good point. But I do want to mention it has been something that they have asked me over and over again in the last number of years. I'll stop there and I'll open it up. Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
Very good points, and I understand what you're suggesting with this. With this one, I think with recent items that happened and social media, and general conversation through social media, dog park was something that was mentioned a lot, talked about a lot. I understand the differences if there's new services or new things that we put in that cost us a lot to maintain. I feel that this would not be one of those items that's going to take a lot to do. And maybe, you know, we could name it. Maybe some organization, service club would want to look at that. And, you know, maybe we include that they do that when they go to do it. But I just feel that this amount of money, you know, I never want to say is a small amount, because it's not right, because some people that's a very large amount. But I feel that this is something that we can give back to our community right now that is an easy win.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. Any other comments from council? Councillor Clark, go ahead.
I just can say from sitting on Parks and Rec since maybe 2010, this is not going away. This comes up every year, more than once a year, to the committee. Maybe Miss Ellsworth can comment the survey that went out for, or maybe Miss Bullock for the master plan. You know, where I can't recall, where did that dog park request, where did that fall in?
About a third of the people wanted a dog park.
Second, yeah. Staff, which one?
Which bit might be
Mrs.
lost
Ellsworth?
for Julie, and I can fill in the background perhaps if Julie needs some help for
Okay.
sort of when that was surveyed.
Thank you. Mrs. Bullock, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, through you. It did fall in the higher, definitely in the top half of the requests in the Parks and Rec master plan. At the time, the current dog park that we did that, there was the dog park that was down at Bridgeview, which it definitely wasn't ideal there, which has been since removed. So now we have no dog park. So it was definitely in the top half of the requests for that.
Thank you, Mrs. Bullock. Mrs. Ellsworth, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I guess just the only thing would be that I think at the recent meeting for Parks and Recreation, it was discussed as what they perceived a great win for the community, because it's effectively land already owned by the town. The cost is predominantly fencing and safety fencing and waste, as far as I know, and it's land that's already being mowed. So I think that was the approach when looking at that big master plan, because some of the other items were higher priced. So they were trying to sort of make sure the community requests move forward.
Just a question, would they would need water available too, would they not, or not? No?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of the dog parks you go to don't necessarily have a watering station. Most dog owners would bring their own water with them.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? Councillor Patel, go ahead.
Thank you, through you. Julie, can you tell me, in the studies that you did, whose responsibility is it to maintain the cleanliness of the park?
So ideally, there would be all kinds of signage advising all of the users that they would be cleaning up after themselves. And that is always our ask, no matter where anybody is. Occasionally, staff will have to go clean it up, because that is just the nature of the beast. We have to do the same thing on the sidewalks. So sometimes staff might have to clean it up, but there will be lots of signage advising users that they are to clean up after their own pets.
Thank you. I know experience-wise, it's always been a bit of a working process to find it in the state in which it was intended to be provided. So that's a bit of an obstacle. Everybody's perception of use and maintenance is a bit different. So I just didn't know what the additional costs or time would be involved in maintaining that area.
Just to speak to that, I would hope that dog owners would be responsible enough to step in and help make sure it's kept in a half decent condition. Councillor Patel.
So with that in mind, I would love to see your suggestion that it be potentially funded by a committee that would help in preserving this if it moves forward. That would allow a little bit more hands-on than to result to Park and Rec and or staff to help maintain this. I just think that there's some credibility in resources involved in the project that would appreciate the monies moving forward and help maintain it and offset those costs to the town.
Thank you. And we could certainly, I would entertain another motion after we deal with this one. Councillor Heritage, you have your hand up.
I did. But it's 22,000, the cost is what we're budgeting?
That's what I have is $22,000.
Well, you know, it doesn't sound like very much money, but it is $22,000. And we've got so many other things in town that we need or would like. We run huge deficits at the arena. That's never going away. And at the community center, I guess. And I can guarantee you that there'll continually be a deficit at the dog park. You're going to need this or need that or have somebody down there. So I can't support it.
Thank you, Councillor Harrop. Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
I just, for me personally, I just don't see how there's going to be a lot of extra. I've talked to other municipalities that have dog parks. I just recently talked to a neighboring municipality and they pick up the garbage. We have garbage bins in the park, like we've already said. Well, there's a washroom over by the ball field that is used. There's in some of our parks now, we have dispensers for bags that we've done before. People, when they walk their dogs now, pick up the stuff that's left in the front yards 95% of the time. So people are smart enough to do that. I don't see where there's a huge extra cost. We did a survey of how many people had dogs, and that was the biggest thing that was talked about was what am I getting for my dog tag? What, you know, we're funding the bylaw, or we're looking after that. What have we given back to the dog owners? I don't think this is a big thing. I don't know. You know, I understand why we have committees or there's an organization that helps the cats. And nobody owns those cats. Hopefully everybody owns the dogs that are going to go into the dog park. So I think it's a pretty basic ask.
All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. Okay, I think I'll wrap it up after this one. Councillor Wells, the last one.
Again, there will be ongoing costs. There's no question. There's ongoing costs for anything we establish. We have invested significant funds into beautiful trails that we continue to maintain and add to every year. And additionally, we have invested significant funds into our connectivity study and providing more sidewalks and more places for people to walk their dogs. Additionally, I also think that we need a full consultation with Lambton Public Health before we do anything with the dog park. And possibly a veterinarian as well. I'd also would be interested to know what kind of liability issues there are with us having a dog park.
Okay, thank you. All right, just so we're all clear, so we are voting on to take this out of the budget. Oh, sorry, Mr. Charlebois, go
Yes,
ahead.
Your worship, through you, I can respond to the liability part. Checked with our insurance company about if the council approved a dog park, if that would affect our insurance rates. He said no.
Okay, thank you.
But does it affect our liability?
All right.
I said it wouldn't affect any of our insurance rates, but you're right, there's more people out there and some dog bites somebody on our property. I don't know.
Okay.
We would likely be named third party, your worship.
Okay. I think I was going to stop at Councillor Wells unless it's,
I have a very simple.
all right, make it quick. Deputy
We've had a
Mayor
dog park. We've advertised our dog park for a number of years at Petrolia.
Field. Okay.
It was in a floodplain and in a flea infested area. So
All right,
just wasn't-
so the motion on the floor, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Pearson, is to take this out of the budget, and it's $22,000 for the dog part.
Correct.
I'll call the vote.
To defer, your worship.
Or to-
Defer.
Sorry, to defer. All right. All those in favor of deferring this? Opposed? Well, that's interesting.
Tie.
And I'm opposed. So that will stay. Okay.
Your worship, we are at 9:56. If this would be an ideal time for the 10 o'clock break.
Well, I think let's do one more. Let's do one more, if that's okay. We got a few minutes. Let's go to the next one, please.
And this is brought forward by Councillor Welsh, and it is seconded by Deputy Mayor Field. And that is that the council of the town of Petrolia defer the cemetery Lower Sea Road cement capital expenditure of $80,000.
I need a seconder for that to put it on the floor.
Deputy Mayor Field, your worship, you
Oh.
have signed that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you. Okay, any discussion? You would like to take the Councillor Wells, go ahead.
So again, through an asset management lens and through a resident lens, you know, does it need to be done this year? When we're looking at different economic times, are there things that we can consider not doing this year?
Okay.
And that's a pretty big expenditure, and I think it could definitely wait.
Okay, and that's to be deferred as well, Councillor Pearson. Okay, and that was for $80,000. I'll open it up for discussion. Okay, so the actual motion is to take that out of the budget.
To defer.
Or sorry, to defer the budget, that item. All those in favor? 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
No, I think
We're all in
We're
favor.
all-
it's unanimous.
Sorry.
And
It's,
We're all in favor.
oh, thank you. Sorry. We've got to put those hands up fast. So, all right. Hey. I think we could still do one more. Let's go to the next one.
Sorry, just one question. Does that mean that the 40K that's coming from the cemetery reserves is removed?
We won't be using that probably either. That's correct, Mrs. Pearson?
Through the treasurer, I believe that would be the assumption.
yes, through your worship, yeah, it'll just stay in the cemetery reserve.
Okay, all right.
So thank you, your worship. Also brought forward by Councillor Welsh and seconded by Councillor Clark is that the council of the town of Petrolia cut the farmers market cedar ceiling capital expenditure $70,000.
Okay, any discussion? Councillor Wells, go ahead.
Cedar, specifically cedar that is not exposed to the elements for any degree, does not need to be treated in any way. And should last for decades and decades. And that particular cedar roof is not exposed to the elements. It's underneath. Might need a little bit of wash with a low PSI, but should more or less be left alone.
Just a comment, wouldn't the dampness though, like affect that wood?
Not nearly as bad as a deck, and
No,
most
it's
cedar
not.
decks are not treated.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, if we could ask Mrs. Bullock to maybe give us some of the background or information regarding this.
Certainly. Mrs. Bullock, go ahead, please.
Thank you. So we've had a couple different companies come out. If you look at the cedar ceiling under that overhang, the edges are discoloring. And the company that we had come out told us that basically the wood on the edges is rotting from the condensation of the heat from the attic part under it. So that is basically what's happening, why it's discoloring on the edges. It's a huge area. It's a very large project. So what that company has suggested more than resealing or resealing it is actually a replacement to a composite product. So that's where the 70,000 is. It's not necessarily redoing it and redoing the cedar. It's actually going to a composite product so that we don't get that same issue with the condensation and the heat from the attic on that. So that's more where that project is.
Thank you, Mrs. Bullock. Deputy Mayor Field, I'll let you go first and I'll go to Councillor Wells.
Yeah, through you. So they've went up in there and looked to see that it's just not vented properly. Is this?
So I don't know that they went up into the attic, but we had 2 different companies come and look from like our lift and basically just see at lift level, see what's happening on that.
But it is, they say that it is rotting on the inside.
They say, yeah, where it's discoloring, I think it's mainly the east end, the east edge of it, is they say it's rotting there, so.
Thank you. All right, Councillor Wells, go ahead.
My motion stands to remove that, defer that for now, and perhaps some more discussion could be had later on just replacing perhaps just the pieces that are rotting and to provide some more ventilation, because that should not be the case if it's properly ventilated.
Thank you. All right. Any other discussion? So is everyone, oh, Councillor Patel, go ahead.
So my only comment is if there's only a section that's affected and it is voted that it replaced, is there not some way to offset some of the cost by repurposing what's already there if it's only a small portion that's affected?
Mrs. Bullock, would you like to speak to that, please?
Yeah, we could certainly look into different options. Obviously, currently it's all the same product. So starting to look at two different products would change the look of things, but I mean, we could certainly look at options that way.
All right, Councillor O'Hara, go ahead.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of money to change it. If you have a company that does that kind of work, there's not likely going to say, "Oh, don't do anything. It's fine." I don't.
All right. Thank you, Councillor O'Hara. I think last one, Deputy Mayor Field, go ahead.
And I'm okay with deferring it for a year, that maybe during this year that we do more in-depth look at what actually is happening there. I would hate to wreck the whole roof, or if it's doing damage anywhere else. So maybe this year be a study year on it and defer it to next year's to be considered.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Field. Okay, I'll call the vote, and basically the vote motion on the floor is to defer the $70,000. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That motion carries. Thank you. So I think at this time, we'll stop here for a quick break. We'll come back and start with number 11. So 20 minutes tops. Thank you.